Trump aide says Russia's war is Modi's war.
It's a recurring profiteering scheme along with that.
Tariff bluff fails, Trump Sarkar rattled. Trump bomb fizzles, Modi-nomics stands tall. Second biggest economy in Bharat's sight. India powering ahead full steam. Trump tariff bomb. That is our top focus on NewsTrack.
Good evening, this is the NewsTrack and we are starting the bulletin with a piece of breaking news that is coming in now. And this is what RSS Supremo Mohan Bhagwat has said on the question of should Indian leaders retire at the age of 75 years. Mohan Bhagwat has said, and I quote him, "In Sangh, we are given a job whether we want it or not. If I am 80 years old and Sangh says, go and run a shakha, I will have to do it. We do whatever the Sangh tells us to do." So in many ways, this is almost settling that 75 years debate which was ongoing. There was another question that was asked to the RSS chief in this 3-day event which was happening in Vigyan Bhavan in the national capital. On that question that was asked about the role that RSS has to play and why is there a delay in picking up the new BJP president, Mohan Bhagwat said that everyone says that the Sangh decides everything. That's not true. Just like I'm an expert in Sangh, they have been running states. This is essentially referring to the BJP, that they are the political masters. They run their party. The RSS is an ideologue. It's a fountainhead, of course. And then he went on to say that if we were the ones deciding, would it take this long? Again, an interesting headline there coming in from Mohan Bhagwat. Let's listen in to these sound bites and then I will shift focus to the tariff issue.
I never said that I will retire or someone should retire. In Sangha, we Swayam Sevaks. We are given a job, whether we want it or not. So, if I am 80 years old and Sangha will tell me, go run a shakha, I will have to go. We do whatever Sangha tells us. We don't say, I will do this, I want that. No, that is not allowed. And we are not there for it because we don't want to accomplish anything. This is not for retirement of anybody or myself. We are ready to retire any time in the life and we are ready to work as long as Sangha wants us to work. That is the thing. सब कुछ संघ तय करता है, ये पूर्णतः गलत बात है. ये हो ही नहीं सकता क्योंकि हम इतने दिनों से मैं 50 साल से शाखा चला रहा हूं. तो कोई शाखा के बारे में मुझे सलाह दे तो मैं एक्सपर्ट हूं, लेकिन वो राज्य चला रहे अनेक वर्षों से, तो राज्य के बारे में एक्सपर्ट वो है. मेरी एक्सपर्टाइज वो जानता है, उसकी एक्सपर्टाइज मैं जानता हूं. तो इस मामले में सलाह तो दे सकते हैं, सलाह तो दे सकते हैं, क्यों देखने से भी सीखते हैं लोग, परंतु डिसीजन तो उस फील्ड में उनका है, इस फील्ड में हमारा है. इसलिए हम तय नहीं करते. हम तय करते इतना समय लगता क्या? हम नहीं करते, हमको करना नहीं है. Take your time.
We are in an advisory role. We do not decide the BJP president is what Mohan Bhagwat, the RSS Supremo, has said. Aishwarya Paliwal was there at the RSS event for all these 3 days. Multiple headlines, Aishwarya, coming in today. But I would say that the point that has been made in the context of 75-year age, retirement age, that debate seems to be settled now. And also that RSS has no role. They can at best advise BJP that they should announce their BJP president, but they have limited role in it.
Well, Marya, let me tell you, all of us who were sitting there, we were all waiting for this question to be answered, because let me tell you what had happened. Over the past 2 days, we all were given a piece of paper. We had to write the question that we wanted from our name, the address, and the organization that we were from. So all of us knew that these were the questions that were being asked. And let me tell you, one thing was very, very clear. Over the past 48 hours, we were told that each and every question will be answered. So every one of us was very keenly looking at the 75-year thing, because, you would have also heard it, Marya. A lot of people now have started speaking about the fact that Mohan Bhagwat is about to step down, and so is Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Both of them are almost 75 years old. So this debate, Marya, let me tell you, in that one go, very, very clearly,
Settled.
with a little bit of a smile on his face, Mohan Bhagwat saying that no, he never asked anyone to resign, nor will he be resigning.
Yes, and in the context of the BJP president, he says, अगर मेरे पे रहता तो मैं पहले ही तय कर चुका होता और इतना डिले नहीं होता.
And let me tell you, Marya, that was something that, had everyone, all of us who were present there, it was just a burst of laughter, because the way he said it, that had it been upon us, and that's what a lot of people are saying, that we are the ones who are deciding it, we would not have taken so long. We have told them that do whatever you want, you can take your own time.
All right, Aishwarya, I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. Shifting focus to our top story right now. 24 hours ago, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent described the U.S.-India relationship as complicated, but expressed optimism, saying that at the end of the day, we will come together. This sentiment was echoed by India. Top government sources had told India Today that channel of communication with Washington remain open, with both sides sending positive signals despite ongoing concerns. However, just a day later, Trump's trade advisor, Peter Navarro, escalated his attack on New Delhi. Navarro accused India of indirectly funding Russia's war in Ukraine by purchasing discounted Russian crude oil, even branding the conflict as Modi war. He went further to suggest that India could secure a 25% reduction in US tariffs if it stopped importing Russian oil. But Navarro's criticism has not got unchallenged. In fact, the House Foreign Affairs Committee slammed the Trump administration's approach, arguing that instead of targeting China or other larger buyers of Russian oil, Washington is unfairly singling out India, undermining both American consumers and the long-standing US-India partnership. Meanwhile, as the tariff war unfolds, the long-term economic outlook paints a different picture. A report by Ernst & Young projects that India will overtake most global peers to become the world's second-largest economy in purchasing power parity terms by 2038, with its GDP expected to reach $34 trillion. Who really is in control of Washington right now, and why is Washington sending mixed signals? Let me take that question to all the guests who are joining me tonight. Puneet Ahluwalia is joining us from Washington, D.C. John Rosamondo is a geopolitical and national security strategist joining me from Washington. We have Ajay Jain Bhutoria. He is Deputy National Finance Chair of Democratic Party. He's joining me from Washington. And Alexander Slater is joining us as well. He is a geopolitical expert on national security issues. Puneet Ahluwalia, why is Washington, on one day they are saying that they are looking for some kind of optimistic solution, another day, another threat, another provocative statement?
Well, first thing is there's no threat. We are very straightforward. President Trump has a clear goal in America first. Peter Navarro, who's one of his confidants, I think he's a patriot, and who also loves India, respects President Modi as a great leader. And what he's saying is, if you want to stand with democracies, if you want to stand with free enterprise system, and you've got to be with us. And that's the reason you can immediately take away 25% tariff. At the same time, we are very clear in finding
Isn't
a
that a
way to
threat?
mitigate this war.
Puneet,
No, it's not
isn't
a
that a
threat.
threat?
Well, the reason is, you see, you can take the relationship anytime. We make it best friends. And then if we say something which is fair and balanced trade, oh, you're not friends anymore. Stop being flaky. Find a way to mitigate this issue. In fact, on August 6th, I said very clearly that this issue can go down very quickly if we can find a way to stop the war. And yes,
Many
if
would say,
India
Puneet,
stops
that
buying,
there is a great degree of double speak here with
no, there's no
regards to
doublespeak.
with regards to Russian oil.
No, I disagree. President Trump sees Prime Minister Modi as his friend. So does Peter Navarro. If you see his entire interview, he says Modi's a great leader. India is a great nation, a great partner. So when you have high expectations from a democratic partner, which is India, you expect more from them. You don't expect something from autocratic nations, which is China and Russia.
But
so
you
India is
also
not being singled out. India has chosen to be singled out, and
you know, Puneet, you also don't
miscalculate the
speak to
negotiations.
friends the way it is being spoken this way. Ajay, a quick response from you, and particularly the House Foreign Affairs Committee, in fact, has slammed Trump administration's approach. They are of the opinion that it's the singling of India is essentially unfair in nature.
Of course, I mean, Trump administration 2.0 has single-handedly damaged that most important relationship between US-India, the relationship which was built in last 25 years with the hard work of from Clinton administration to Bush administration to Obama, Biden administration. This has been completely destroyed, and the trust has been lost between the two countries. That doesn't mean that there's no point to come back and repair this relationship, but it will take a longer time. US trying to play double standards on not going easy on China, while China is one of the largest buyer of Russian oil, and going so harsh on India. They have exhausted all their cards with 50% tariff already placed. Yesterday, Pete Navarro was seen like pleading to India, at least come back and listen to us. I mean, which was seen that they have lost their exhausted all their cards. The only last card Trump administration can now play is putting sanction, as they put sanction on an enemy state in Russia, which would be the biggest mistake they can make in this administration. So I don't think that they will go that too far. Now they will try to repair this damage which they have been done. And what happens, domestic implication, that almost 20-25% Indian Americans who had voted shifted from 2020 to 24 to Trump administration. They will shift back to Democrats in the midterm election, and they are going to punish the Republicans for what they have done, how they've insulted India, how they have hyphenated India with Pakistan, how they have treated India, in par with other enemy countries, and this is not acceptable. Scott Bessent or Pete Navarro, they are running right now the policy on social media. The policies
Yes.
are not worked on social media.
Absolutely. I mean, then John, the question is, who should India speak to? On one hand, the indication that comes from the government of India here is that the channel of communication between New Delhi and Washington is open. This is coming on a day that US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent sends a positive signal also. And then in 24 hours, everything takes a deep dive again. Everything starts going south.
Well, personally, I think that Prime Minister Modi should pick up the phone and call Donald Trump directly, because President Trump prefers to deal with peer global leaders as opposed to down below. I mean, if you go back to follow Trump's rhetorical strategy going back to the 1980s, he'll say something inflammatory, then back down as a way of trying to get some sort of leverage. I think that what Peter Navarro said about Modi's war is ill-advised, and I'm sad to hear it. But I think that there needs to be some way of getting India to be involved with pressuring Vladimir Putin to back down, and also having more of a talk about allowing more American goods into the Indian market, which I think is what Donald Trump wants.
But John, the question here is that how can there be an engagement at the top when you have one side, which is Donald Trump, taking repeatedly to Truth Social, speaking about it so publicly, not once but multiple times, in the context of the Indian economy, he has gone to the extent of saying that Indian economy is a dead economy, which is far from truth.
Well, of course it is. I mean, it's hyperbole. But I think the thing is that, Prime Minister Modi needs to develop a thick skin and deal with Trump directly, as opposed to, not talking, because that's how President Trump gathers and learn, some of the strategies that other countries have used in terms of using President Trump's ego as a tool to get him to do what they want. So I think that, ignore what Trump is saying and think about the best way to move Trump in the direction you want him to.
Okay, Alexander, what really is the way out of this? Because there is a huge trust deficit, although the channel of communication is open, because earlier the indication was that there is total impasse, that the negotiators who were expected to come to New Delhi around this time, they did not come. So can there be a trade deal? The one sense that we got from New Delhi was that there's no question of it. Now the sense is that the talks are going on, that there are concerns on both sides. But who is talking to whom?
Marya, thanks for the question and thanks for having me here. It's good to be part of the discussion. I think we have to zoom out a little bit here. It's clearly in the interest of both India and the United States for the situation that we're in right now to change, for there to be a trade deal between the two countries. If you go back 3 weeks ago, or even maybe a month ago, all reports and suggestions are they were quite close, that there was an agreement, or at least an outline of an agreement that would allow them to get to an agreement later this year. I think both sides also see that their long-term strategic and security interests lie together. I don't think that the recent rapprochement between China and India is one that is durable. The changes that have recently happened were in the works for a long time, and just so happen to be taking place right now. So the way out of this, I think, is for India and the United States at the staff level, as it were, to begin consultations or to continue consultations. It sounds like Scott Bessent is an advocate for India. Sounds like behind the scenes, so is Howard Lutnick. These are, and even Jameson Greer, who the USTR. And so these are folks who I think would be good interlocutors. I also think that John's suggestion about leader level communications is a very good one. The challenge there is that the way that these two leaders communicate and the nature of their constituencies now makes that very difficult. I think John's also right that President Trump's social media posts are really more signaling things. They're not meant to be substantive or true. They're meant to designate his views on, are you with me or against me at that moment in time? Just look at Marco Rubio, his Secretary of State and National Security Advisor. He was very insulting to Marco Rubio when he was a senator running against him in 2016 for the Republican nomination. Now he's part of his cabinet. And so, but the challenge for Prime Minister Modi is that these are really serious allegations that President Trump has put on social media that go to the heart of Prime Minister Modi's governing theory or argument. And indeed, his stewardship of the Indian economy has helped make India the fastest growing large economy in the world. And
yes.
So,
and Alexander, that exactly is my point here. Here is Donald Trump making the most outlandish claims, provocative, outrageous. But it's not stopping at only the president. You say that President Trump tends to, be very, very mercurial, and he also deals with his staff in a different way. But there are members within his administration, like Peter Navarro, saying that this is Modi's war. That is getting reflected in the entire administration. It's not just stopping at Donald Trump.
I don't think that the characterization of the war as Modi's war is one that makes a lot of sense. And I think that if you look at the quote from Navarro, he says, in part, it's Modi's war. My view is that Vladimir Putin executed the invasion of Ukraine. It's his war. And we're all dealing with the consequences, both India and the United States. I think Prime Minister Modi has been clear since 2022 that this is not an era of war. He said that repeatedly.
It starts from Samarkand. And then it is
And that-
reflected multiple times in the G20 summit, you know, the Bali summit, and then it's reiterated in the New Delhi summit. It's part of the leaders' declaration, where Prime Minister had famously said that this is not an era of war.
I agree. At the same time, you know, when India's purchases from Russian oil go from basically zero before the conflict to significantly higher now 3 years after the invasion, you know, it begs the question: are those purchases supporting what Russia is doing, or giving it fuel to execute its attacks on Ukraine, which, you know, seem to be ongoing and escalating? I mean, yesterday there were some massive attacks in Kyiv where many people died.
Okay.
This is after President Trump and Vladimir Putin met to try and seek a ceasefire. And
Okay.
so, you know, we're in a difficult situation.
So could there be a ceasefire now between US and India? There has to be a climb down, certainly, from this position that has been taken by United States, Puneet Ahluwalia, because as far as the Indian response is concerned, it's measured. There is that India is communicating largely through the External Affairs Ministry, and it's putting across its point. It's not provoking, you know, United States the way US is doing.
Marya, it's not very difficult. As Peter Navarro said, the day India decides to fund President Putin's war in Ukraine, which is killing innocent people and also putting the entire Europe at risk and a possibility of World War III, that's what President Trump is trying to de-escalate. He's very much in control, and his team is very much in control. I think once Prime Minister Modi wants to pick up the phone and say, let's de-escalate, this will be done, because they both have great dynamics. It's very simple. Stop buying the oil, refining the oil for Russians with the Russians, and this is all goes away. And we start looking and building through the people to find the finer points of doing business with India. I feel there's a strong possibility that can be done, because there, as one of the gentlemen said, there are a lot of supporters of India, including the diaspora, including the leadership in the Republican Party, along with in President Trump's cabinet.
Okay, I have
Use
just
that
enough
to the
time
advantage. Do
to
not have the wrong optics.
Ajay, 30 seconds to you, and let's wrap up this discussion.
Yeah, what I would say is that the war between Russia and Ukraine has to be ended by Ukraine and Russia. And US has Trump said that in first 2 weeks he will end the war. He failed, and now he's
Yes.
trying to pass on his failure to India or to other countries. And this failure is also coming on his domestic politics, and he's failing. I mean, he's failing. He's literally failed to stop the war. Even he brought Putin and Ukraine in US and all the European allies, and they have failed to reach a now his administration is trying to shift. Because the war is continuing because of India's buying
All
oil.
right.
China
Puneet
is buying
Ahluwalia,
oil.
John Rosamondo, Ajay Jain, and Alexander Slater. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. All eyes will now be on that crucial summit which is going to take place in China, when a possible bilateral can happen between Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping, Prime Minister Modi and Vladimir Putin. A photo opportunity, perhaps, which will be watched very, very closely by Washington. That's all from me on this edition of NewsTrack. Thanks so much for watching.